All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to apostles and elders in New York, GMS, and salutations to y'all around the world that's teaching truth for your last online for, and shalom to your serious Aqua that's listening, looking at our videos. We are not black Hebrew Israelites. We are Israelites. The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and a speckled bird that's scattered abroad. Speckled bird Israelites who look like other nations, but their father paternal bloodlines go back to the 12 patriarchs of Israel. A good example of that is Harry Belafonte, granddaughter, that his son. All right, read this verse 4. If I read this verse first, before I read this, Deuteronomy 28:45-46. It said, "Moreover, all the curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh, thy power to keep his commandment and his statute which he command thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever." Okay, and the reason why I read this curse, this is about the tribe of Reuben. All right, the so-called Seminole Indians. Okay, Reuben's the firstborn of Jacob, man. As a matter of fact, since you scoffers, you want to go on people, the hue of their skin or the color of their skin, man. Yes, the so-called Seminole Indians originally, and some still are dark skin, man. All right, so-called black, dark brown skin, man. Cause my wife, she lived in in Florida, man, and she see these Seminole so-called Seminole kids, the Reubenite kids, all right, a tribe of Reuben, and she was single hang out with the tribe of Judah, so-called Negro kids, man. All right, they're dark skinned, they have slanted eyes. All right, they like the way their hair curly and everything. All right, so they're Israelites, man. They suffer the same curses that marched them as Israel, man. They gonna get the same blessings, man. When Yahweh sent his son Yahweh Shai and the angels in 144,000 to liberate Yashala Israel, man, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. And like I said, Jeremiah chapter 12 verse 9, man, some so-called Seminoles are Mexican looking, man. We from the same family, man, but they're Reubenites. All right. Then you got confusion in the face of Reubenites, man. All right. Some look like Judite, some look like Edomites, and various, man. But they still Israelites, man, because their fathers, talking about the ones that look like Edomites and the rest of the nations. All right, they're Israelites, man, because they're from the seed of their paternal Israelite father, man, tribe of Reuben. All right. Now this letter was in a book on the Akim from St. Louis. There's a book, The American Indian by James Adair, which proves that the so-called indigenous people of the Americas, the so-called Native American, are Israelites that the Bible speaks of, man. Talking about that cussing and everything. Look at this interesting letter he found, man, in here. All right, this is UT News. All right, the University of Texas at Austin. News Information Service. Director Amy Joel Long. All right, Box Universe Station, Austin, Texas, 787112, area code 512. Contact Nancy Neff. Subject, seminar reunion. All right. It says Austin, Texas, two communities of black Seminoles separated 132 years ago after a series of slave raids on the settlements in Oklahoma. All right, so you had the tribe of Judah among so-called Negroes among the tribe of Reuben, and the two they cohabitated with each other, man, and they had children, vice versa, man. You had Judite that married a so-called a Judite married a Reubenite, so-called Seminole Indian woman. In reverse, you have a Reubenite man, so-called Seminole man, married a so-called Negro woman from the tribe of Judah, man. All right. It said thanks to the efforts of the University of Texas associate professor of the English. All right. It says Dr. Ian Hancock, who has studied the migration divisions of the Seminoles for years, say the Wewoka band in Oklahoma and the Seminole community in the South Texas town of Brackettville had now reestablished contact and planned a reunion in June. The linguistics and English scholar has been in touch with the Texas Seminoles since 1976, but he recently met the group living in Oklahoma. He introduced the two communities who plan to meet in Brackettville June 19th, Juneteenth. Each group vaguely knew that there was other Seminoles somewhere, Dr. Hancock said. All right. And let me say one thing, man. They took a lot of so-called Seminole Indians, Reubenites, man, and enslaved them, man. All right. Well, Esau was pursuing them because they was angry, man, because the Reubenites, so-called Seminoles, was giving Esau hell, man, and actually fucked them up, man. All right. Got some good licks in, man. All right, but Esau eventually took him down at the end. But you know, it says Seminole. Dr. Hancock pointed out that means fugitive or runaway, and the name was applied to composite group of people made up of Creek Indians, Miccosukee Indian, and Africans. Those are the Judites. All right. And others who escaped slavery in the British colonies and fled south into Florida. The ancestors of the Oklahoma and Texas group of black Seminoles settled among the Creek Indians of Florida and acquired Indian custom identity, but retained their own Creole language. All right, so it's the tribe of Judah. All right, another dark-skinned group of people came among another dark-skinned group of people. Both belong to the nation Israel. The so-called Negroes, so-called Africans, Judah. The so-called Seminole Indians, the tribe of Reuben. It said during the early 1800s, the Seminoles became prey to raids by illegal slavers. Like I said, and eventually the majority of them moved west. All right, it said they settled into Indian territory, now Oklahoma, but that was not far from the border with Arkansas, a slave state, and slave rates and settlements continue. Right, so Esau, he was enslaving Reubenites, man, so-called Seminole Indians. I'm gonna bring us this information. I gotta find it. That the so-called Seminole Indian woman, the Reubenite woman, was a favorite among the Edomite slave masters in the South, man. As a matter of fact, the brother used to be the head of our camp, Patak. He said on his own mouth that because his family from Alabama, that his grandma, what was she? I think what was she? She was a Gadite. I think she was Choctaw. And she said in the slave Alabama, you had Gad, Choctaw Indians, you had another group of Gadites, the so-called Cherokee, and you had Reuben, the so-called Seminole Indians in the slave fields, working in slave fields, Alabama, man. And his grandmother had a Hebrew Bible. All right. It said many then moved in Texas 1849, leaving the others in Oklahoma. There has been no contact between the two groups since then, Dr. Hancock said. Dr. Hancock found that the Seminoles in Texas, Oklahoma had the same surnames, culture, dress, physical characteristics, and that they spoke the same language. On an earlier trip to Brackettville, Dr. Hancock discovered that the town's group of black Seminoles spoke a Creole language that linked them to their African ancestors 300 years ago. All right, Israelites, man. All right, Jake, the former all things, man. All right, we made up our own language, West Africa, man. All right, even though I'm a Gadite, I said we, the nation, whole nation Israel. All right, so-called Negroes. All right. It said Gullah, which contain elements of English and African language, but is distinct from each. Also was spoken by the Wewoka band in Oklahoma. All right. And I believe the Gullah be the one who made that song Kumbaya. Kumbaya. All right. Kwam, rise, ba, in, yah, Yahweh, rise in Yahweh. All right. If not mistaken, that's how they go. He discovered a Creole language developed from contact between the two groups with no common language. The ancestor Gullah developed about 1600 between Europeans and Africans, all right, the Israelites on the west coast of Africa. Dr. Hancock explained Gullah was brought to the Western Hemisphere by African slaves, the Israelites, all right. Cause we weren't called, tribe Judah wasn't called Africa, we called Negroes, man. All right. When I say we, I mean his whole nation of Israel. All right, y'all suffered. It said Dr. Hancock hopes the reunion of the two groups will help bring attention to the Seminoles, all right, the Reubenites, a group of people he believed historically have got the short end of the stick. All right, yep. It said white settlers, all right, these are the Edomites, because they're not white, they're red. White settlers used the Seminoles as interpreters and to help rid West Texas of the plain Indians. All right, you have some that they ignorantly help Esau, man, against their own brothers, man. It's like brothers from the tribe of Gad. But when they fulfilled their uselessness, they were dumped. Of course. The scripture said don't trust him, man. He's a serpent, man. And said Dr. Hancock, the Seminoles received nothing, no money, no land grants, nothing. Okay. And another thing, they also went with John, what's his name? John Horse, I'm not mistaken. He took his group of Reubenites down there to Mexico, man. Esau pursuing them, man. And they went down there. They met some. They went down there with Issachar, man, and more likely they mixed with Issachar, the so-called Mexicans down there, man. Establish their own towns and communities, man. All right. So the trapper, the so-called this proved that the so-called Seminole end are Israelites from the tribe of Reuben, man. All right, and their descendants they're throughout heavily Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, up here throughout the United States, man. Also throughout the Caribbean, man, the Bahamas, and down there in Mexico, and elsewhere wherever Esau sold them, man. All right. So the tribe of Reuben's so-called Seminole Indians are small as that scoffer vocab, no class belong, like to point out, man. All right, it was proved that the so-called Seminole Indians are the Israelites from the tribe of Reuben, and I'm gonna come back and revisit this topic again. Yahweh Ratazah, Yahweh willing. All right, so that's it. Shalom.